What is up, everybody? This is your man Dre Mack with another episode of the Dre Mack Show. Today, I'm gonna talk about the history of Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. Happy Juneteenth celebration. Let's get into it on another episode of the Dre Mack Show.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is your man Dre Mack with another episode of the Dre Mack Podcast
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dre Mack Show. Okay, so today we're celebrating Juneteenth. It's the Juneteenth celebration. So happy Juneteenth to everyone. You know, of course, I got my truth, my 1865 truth shirt on. You know what I'm saying? Representing truth. That's the reason why you try harder. Shout out to Roger Suggs and everybody out there in truth. Much love to you guys. Okay, so let's just get into it a little bit. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of facts about Juneteenth. And this is from Golden West College from Huntington Beach, California. And I just want to kind of like talk to you guys about Juneteenth because I know a lot of people don't know really a lot of history. And then what the question of the day is, do you feel like we need more than just Juneteenth being a holiday? Because there is a lot of information that's out there about Juneteenth. And everybody can celebrate Juneteenth, and that's cool that we got it now as a national holiday. Congress passed it overwhelmingly through the House and the Senate, and then the president signed over for Juneteenth. But I feel like just a little bit, not trying to rain on a parade of Juneteenth because this needed to be a federal holiday anyway. But don't you feel like we should have had a little bit more than just this? So let me get into this just for a little bit, because this is by Avery Caldwell, and I said, what does Juneteenth celebrate? Juneteenth is a holiday that's commemorating the freedom of the slaves in the United States. The name Juneteenth is a combination of the word June and 19th. This day is also called Emancipation Day or Freedom Day. When is Juneteenth celebrated? June 19th. Who celebrates this day? This day is celebrated in the United States mostly by African Americans. It is mostly celebrated in the state of Texas, where it's been an official state holiday since 1980. Many other states recognize the day either as an official holiday or observance. When I was growing up, this is what we observed. We always had Juneteenth festivals or whatever, so I've always been understanding of Juneteenth and why Juneteenth is so important. Why do people celebrate? There's a number of different ways that people celebrate the day, including parades, marches, barbecues. Many people get together for ceremonies that includes public service awards, prayer, and the raising of the Juneteenth flag, which is the red, black, and green. That is the reason why we celebrate right here with the red, black, and green with the fist in the air, because we're representing Juneteenth. If you don't know about the flag, the red, black, and the green stand for the blood that is shed, the black on the skin, and the green of the motherland of Africa, normally celebrated by Pan-Africanism. So that's the reason why we celebrate the red, black, and green. The history of Juneteenth. So let's kind of get into that just for a little bit. The Emancipation Proclamation was issued by Abraham Lincoln on September 22nd, 1862. It went into effect on January 1st, 1863. Really, Freedom Day is January 1st, New Year, where we celebrate New Year's. So that is actually Freedom Day for real, because that's when the Emancipation Proclamation was actually signed in 1863. However, slaves were not free in the Confederacy until the Union Army was able to come in and take over. On June 18th, 1865, the Union Army arrived in Galveston, Texas. The next day, June 19th, General Gordon Granger announced that the slaves in Texas were free by the order of the President of the United States. The former slaves in Galveston celebrated that day that they were set free. That they were set free. Excuse me. The first Juneteenth celebration took place that very next year. They also named it the Year of Jubilation. You know what I'm saying, or the celebration of the Jubilee celebration, something that comes from the actual Bible. An annual celebration began to spread throughout Texas and the surrounding states. However, it became less popular in the 1900s. It became popular once again in the 1950s and 1960s. In 1980, it became an official state holiday in Texas. There is currently a movement to get the day recognized on a national level, which we just did just recently. Now Juneteenth is now a national holiday. These are fun facts about the holiday. It is the oldest known holiday that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. Juneteenth is the title of a book by Ralph Ellison. Other books by Carolyn Mayer or Anne Rinaldi also center around that day. Some cities and groups have missed Juneteenth contests. Strawberry soda pop was once a popular drink associated with celebrating the day. There is a Juneteenth flag of freedom. It is half red and half blue with stars in the middle. Each year, a Juneteenth flag raising ceremony is held in Galveston, Texas. All right, so let me kind of get off of that just for a moment. So we see that it is big to celebrate Juneteenth in the United States. It is something that we need to celebrate because we need to know our history. We get wrapped up into, the history of the United States, and the history of the United States do not include a lot of African American history, and to let you know that you are American. So our history need to be tied into the American history also. So I do like the push that Congress made to finally get this known as a national holiday, because it needs to be a national holiday. At the same time, where is the national push for stop Black hate like we have stop Asian hate? Where is the police reform? Where is all of the stuff that the president and the vice president was preaching on their way to the White House? And these are the things that we need to ask. So the question of the day is, do you feel like we need more than just Juneteenth being a holiday? I feel like that we need to start looking at more things than just the actual observance of the holiday. Yes, I appreciate the observance of the holiday. I think the United States government finally passing that. So on a national level, this thing could be celebrated. But I could do away with the national recognition if other things is not being accepted within this. And what I mean by not being accepted in this is the push for of other things that we need to do. We haven't talked about reparations, and technically reparations has already been paid, but it just wasn't paid to Black people. And I know you're gonna be like, Dre, what do you mean? It's already been paid, but it hasn't been paid towards white people. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me just a second, because I want you guys to get a little bit of history into this. All right, so let me see. I'm gonna just go to Wikipedia for this because I just want the generalization of this. I don't want to go into the big details or whatever. I just want you to get the gist of what is going on here. So I'm going to share my screen just real quick, and I want you to take a look at this just for a moment. Right? You see where it's highlighted? It says, on April 16th, 1862, President Lincoln signed the District of Columbia Compensated Emancipation Act. The law prohibited slavery in the district, forcing 900 slave owners to free their slave, with government paying the owners an average about $300, which is the equivalent of $8,000 in 2020 for each. So what it's saying is that, yes, you're free. You are free, right? Because remember, January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation went into act. But instead of paying the people who was in slavery, the DC Compensated Emancipation Act paid slave owners, paid the slave owners. Let me say it again. Paid the slave owners about the equivalent of $8,000. Right? In 1863, state legislature towards compensation and emancipation in Maryland failed to pass, as it did to attempt to include a newly written Missouri Constitution. But it still paid slave owners money because we were considered property. And this is why this is so important to not get caught up on just the holiday portion of it. There's other things that need to be done. Police reform needs to be done on how they deal with certain people. There needs to be a push from the Black community to get more police officers, you know what I'm saying, in the inner city that's Black and brown. There needs to be more, but I'm just dealing with Black people. There needs to be a push from Black people to get more lawyers and attorneys and people that work in law, if they work in the law, in those positions. Instead of us getting caught up in sending our kids to college so they can be basketball players and all of that, we need to be sending our kids so they can be able to be functioning into the same place that puts us back into a slavery state, which is the prison system. Because we keep forgetting that during the end of the civil rights movement, that there was a big push in mass incarceration from the Nixon era all the way to the Bush and the Reagan and Bush administration, to the Bush administration. You know what I'm saying? To the Clinton administration. The rise of mass incarceration went higher. Why aren't we pushing more people to get into those positions so we can be able to start changing the law? Because we understand how detrimental this law is. Why aren't we pushing so we can end the school to prison pipelines? These are things that we need to be working with Congress and working with the President of the United States on. And I'm going to give the President of the United States, Joe Biden, the same energy that I gave Donald Trump. So it's no different. Do not pacify us to say, oh, we gave you a national holiday. You should be happy. Woo, Jubilee. And not go into the integral parts that you said that you were going to be, that you were going to change. And this goes to Kamala Harris too, because I'm not going to sit up here and act like I wasn't a big advocate for Kamala Harris. But do not pacify us with things like this and not try to go for the things that we need to get changed. I'm not talking about defunding the police, because I'm not on that train, because I believe that that's stupid. I'm one of the people who honestly believe just defunding the police department is stupid, especially if you have nobody trained to be able to take over our police department. And if you Negroes talking about we can police ourselves, why can't we police ourselves in our own neighborhood when we start to have domestic violence situations or a situation where we get angry at each other that leads to the homicide rate just in our inner city, just within ourselves? So yes, it might sound like I'm bitching or complaining, but I'm telling you the way that we're going to be a functional society if we start changing our mentality on the way that we're looking at this thing. And if we're looking at this thing, we're happy that we got that we got Juneteenth, but there's no reparations. There's no compensation for the people that you thought were property. There's no compensation of the people you thought that were three-fifths human, that they use Darwinism on to try to make us seem like that we were less human than where we were. There's no compensation for that. Yes, I'm a big advocate of reparations. Yes, because if you paid the slave owners, why couldn't you pay us? And don't tell me you ain't got no money because you spent all this money on stimulus checks. I didn't even receive a stimulus check, so I'm even about to talk about that. But you spent all this money on stimulus and all this other stuff, but you couldn't make sure that the people that you're talking to, the one that you was begging for a vote, are taken care of. So yes, thank you for giving us Juneteenth as a national holiday. But no, you need to go right back to the drawing board after you get through shucking and jiving with us. After you get through trying to make us seem like that we bootlicking for this. No, not. I want to see real change in the office. I want to see real change when it comes to law enforcement. And I'm not talking about defunding the police. I'm talking about changing process and procedures. That's what I want to see. I want to see more things to happen in our community, like STEM programs in the inner city that teach young children about coding and different things like that. I want more trade schools in the inner city, so we can start, when people start talking about getting new businesses and stuff like that, that we focus on businesses that builds our infrastructure and that will help our community better. We need more electricians. We need more plumbers. We don't need more rappers. We don't need more basketball players. That's what we need. We need more people that's into engineering, so they could be able to build our infrastructure within our area that looks like us. We need more tailors. We need more people who have businesses that sell us tools and stuff that makes our streets and our neighborhoods nicer. You want to get back to Black Wall Street, Black people? This is what we need. So yes, I am happy that we have achieved the right to go ahead and have Juneteenth as a national holiday. And I'm not mad about that at all. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But that's not all. There's still more work to be done. There's still more things that need to be done. So while we're arguing over bonnets, we're arguing over, is cater to you slavery? Come on now. For real? Cater to you? We need to start building back our people and back our neighborhoods. And if you really care about your neighborhood and you really care about that, stop sending your kids to be ball players and start sending them to be engineers and people that can help our community. The things that we need: more doctors, more lawyers, more accountants, more people that can be able to build right. I don't need another t-shirt. And I'm not knocking people who start businesses with t-shirts, cakes, and pies. I love y'all for that. And I appreciate your wealth of trying to expand beyond being a laborer. But when you build your business, remember, you're going to have to hire people. So when you're building your businesses, how does it help the Black community? Does more t-shirts help the Black community, or do we need plumbers? Do we need electricians? Do we need more people who deal with housing and coding and different things like that? How can we progress further is the question. So while Congress is sitting up there and they're talking about this and talking about that, take that money, put it back into the schools to start giving our teachers what we pay these athletes. How about we do that? And we start investing into our community and start making it right and start making it better. This is your man, Dre Mac. I love y'all. You know, I'm always speak to my heart. But I wanted to give you the education on Juneteenth, but I also wanted to give you something to actually chew on. Is there more that we could be doing than just being happy that they gave us something we celebrated as a national holiday? Peace and shalom to everyone.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Dre Mac, with another episode of the Dre Mac Podcast Show.